bro and sis show.
What's happening?
You got Anonymous and you got
Toke this yo. Don't forget it.
And this is the bro and sis show. Reporting live from the 214 Cedar Hill area. Did I say too much? I don't even know.
Who cares? Mind your business.
Mine. Yeah.
Mind your business. Mind your business.
And today we're going to be talking about the movie we saw yesterday, or a documentary. 3 Identical Strangers.
What a clusterfuck of mind fucking. Take that in.
Take it in slow. Take
Yes.
a moment.
A clusterfuck of a mind fuck. It was just too much.
So, first off, imagine being born for 18 years,
Yeah.
right? With the family, you know you've been adopted. So you're like, okay, I'm adopted, baby. That's cool.
Ain't
You
nothing
know,
wrong with that.
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing.
So imagine going to a college area, right?
Right.
It's your first time ever walking into this college. Everybody's calling you
Someone else's
his name.
And I'm not talking about like a hostile, environment. Like people are welcoming you, random girls are kissing you. So this is an ideal
And
situation.
when we say kiss, we ain't talking about that
Kiss
on the
mouth.
cheek.
No, I mean grabbing butt cheeks, kissing, holding face, kiss like I missed you. Yeah, this is an ideal situation for any young man coming into a new environment. So I can understand why he didn't really,
Understand.
or he wasn't like, man, get off of me. Anyways, it would have been a little bit weird if he did. But anyways, this was set back in 88, wasn't it? Mm-hmm.
So he's walking on this campus, trying to figure out what's going on because everybody is waving at him, talking about, "Hey, Eddie!" You're like, "I'm not Eddie. I'm Bobby." I'm Bobby. Everybody's looking at him. Dude.
Yeah, right, Bobby.
Yeah,
that's really funny,
Yeah, it's
Eddie.
really-
That's super funny. That's exactly what they said. They did not believe it
So
at all.
he made it to his room, right? Guess who his roommate was? One guess. One guess only.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie's best friend.
Couldn't have been more perfect to run into this guy. When this guy said he seen this dude, he knew right away he was looking at a copy because he knew where his best friend was, but nobody else knew. He immediately he was like, "We have to go. I have to call you. I have to show you something." So they run outside to the payphone. This payphone is probably for one person, but somehow
All
they
right,
both
for those
fit
for
in
those new heads that don't know what a payphone is, it's a phone before cell phones was made.
Right. You
That
have
was
to
outside.
change in that hoe.
Quarters,
Yes.
dimes,
Mhm.
nickels, no pennies.
Right. No pennies.
No
Yes.
pennies. It'll spit the pennies back at you.
Exactly.
But you have to walk inside this booth. You watch Doctor Who, right? Yeah, Doctor Who. Now, Doctor Who's spaceship is shaped like a big phone booth, right?
Same exact thing.
Same.
That is a phone booth.
That is.
Just so you millennials be like, what in the damn is a phone booth? I forgot we have to explain these things.
Yeah.
Damn it. Okay.
So back to the story.
Right.
So they run into this phone booth, right?
Right.
Eddie's friend calls up Eddie and be like, bro. You gotta say bro at least 4 times
Exactly.
when something is really big.
Somebody needs to talk to you. So Eddie gets on the phone with the guy, and he swore he heard himself answering every question that he had. And every question he was asking him, what was his name? When was he born? All of those questions, and they aligned with his story. They were born on the same exact day. They looked exactly the same, but how everyone kind of knew that they were, brothers. Anyways, never mind the identical. It was the hands. They had these big, meaty hands that you could not skip over. So, once he heard that, he had heard enough. They jumped into his car called the Old Bitch. I think that is a player-ass name, if you ask me.
All right, so let me describe this car. Everybody knows a hoopty when they see one,
Yes.
right? So, the Old Bitch was this old school. What's it?
Volvo.
Volvo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Volvo. Yeah. And this Volvo went hard.
Do you hear me?
But it was like red everywhere. But
it had a green hood.
A green hood. So it was already like had those Christmassly colors that everybody loves. So when you think old bitch, you think Christmas. Okay?
Yeah.
Red
if
and
I
green.
had a hoopty, because I have had a hoopty or two in my life, I would have definitely named it the old bitch. Like, yeah, that old bitch raggedy, but it's paid off and it's mine and it got me from point A to B. So don't you talk about my old bitch, you hear me?
Alright. So they speeding down the highway, right? Going damn near close to 100 miles an hour.
Get pulled over
by a state trooper. And they trying to explain what's going on to this state trooper. So that this is what they say. You're not going to believe what's going on. It's like, huh? He's going to see his twin brother.
I know this sounds idiotic to a state trooper in the middle of the night, I'm sure.
As to why you're going 100 miles an hour to go see your twin brother. But they didn't tell him that after 18 years, right? This is his first time seeing his twin brother.
He had no recollection of even having a brother.
That's what makes it so powerful. But this does not even end the story. It's not even close. So, the state trooper is like, alright, okay, yeah. Throws the ticket at him. And they go speeding back on to their way, right? So, you know, the old bitch, she's going point A to point B strongly. You feel me? Strongly. I had to indicate that 3 times. Just how good this hoopty was driving.
For real. The old bitch got you there, man.
Yeah. So they knocking at. He didn't even get a chance to knock at the door. He walks up to the door, about to knock. Guess who opens the door? Guess. You ain't gonna believe.
Bum, bum, bum.
Greg switches over the podcast microphone. It was Eddie.
You need help. Anyways.
So, Eddie opens up the door. And Eddie looks at his twin brother for the first time. He was like, we're brothers. Whoa. You look just like me. It's like I'm looking at myself. Bobby.
Mirroring each other.
Bobby was looking at Eddie, saying the exact same thing. And all you see is Eddie's friend just in awe. Like, what's going on? The next thing you know, they're on the news. They're on the newspapers. They everywhere. Just flowing all across the U.S. like twins that didn't know they was twins. The first time they seen each other was when they was 19. Imagine seeing your twin brother for the first time in 19 years after not knowing that you even had a brother. But the crazy part is just about to begin. It's about to go even crazier.
Well. So, they were in every headline of every newspaper across New York. It was unbelievable to everybody. This was, back in the 80s? Of course. Nobody had ever seen anything nor heard of it. So to have it presented in picture, it was amazing. But there was a third family that had seen the pictures. And of course, they looked at both of the twins and they were in shock, pretty much screaming and shaking anyways. But one thing also that they noticed, the big meaty hands. So there was a third to this twin. That means there. My God. When I say I was like, this is too much. This is just too much. So there are triplets. And let me not just stop here and say like, oh yeah, this is just going to be the brunt of the situation. It just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Deeper than you'd even think, to be truthful. You just be like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Yay. Okay. What's so awesome about twins or even triplets finding each other. You know what I'm saying? Family, they lose connection with family all the time. What is so different?
So
I had to give it to my brother.
So sis did a good job. She explained that perfectly. So the parents was like mad at the adoption agency for not telling them that they had triplets, or telling them that, you know, they can adopt triplets. Instead, they separate the three brothers while they was born. Didn't tell the parents at all that they was born together, or that they even had brothers. And they adopted the older sisters from each family. So there's 3 of them, right? So there's 3 families, and each of them have an older sister that is 21 that was adopted. That's even more crazy, right? So they go to the adoption agency, pissed off, knocking at the door. Adoption agency lets them in, talks to them, and they just like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. You know, now, you know, I wish we could have elaborated on that more. So, you know, all that lingo talk. So they end up, you know, winning, like the adoption.
Not even winning. They just pretty much felt like they won the argument. They just gave them bullshit after bullshit. There was no questions answered. There was no tension relieved. Every parent still left upset. But then there was one parent that had walked out, and he realized he had left his umbrella. So once he had walked back to get his umbrella, he noticed the people, you know, on the administration board of the, what was it called? Louis Wise adoption agency. He had noticed that they were cracking open a bottle of champagne. Like what were they celebrating? What did they, you know, like they just dodged a bullet. And he found that very odd and very strange.
So, as the families was very confused, they just walked out of confusion. Like, I don't know what's going on. Why are they opening up champagne? And me watching the movie for the first time, I was like, what's going on?
Right.
Why are they opening bottles of champagne?
Are they glad that they didn't get killed? Because, you know, that's what would have happened. They were, of course, threatening lawsuits and things like that. But apparently, this was too high in the ranks of, you know, government officials and things like that. They were like, I'm sorry, there's really nothing we can do about it.
So, later on in the story, you know, the kids get on TV, they're on big things. They open them up a restaurant called The Triplets. After a year of opening up, no, I skipped a little bit, right? So they actually got them an apartment,
yes,
as I go backwards, right? In New York. They've been having a blast. Each of them got their own, like they shared an apartment. So it was basically like a bachelor's pad times 3. So
they had alcohol delivered to their apartment in New York. You gotta be kidding me.
Everywhere they went, every night, headlines. They was the male versions of the Kardashians.
Deadass. But yes, they were very popular. They were open to every opportunity that there was, just because of who they were. They didn't realize how deep their story was about to go after all of this fun and success that they were getting out of their systems. So they began starting families, having children, and then they decided, you know, we're a family now. We're going to open a restaurant business anyways and do what we do best. We're going to show everybody a good time. So after the first year, they projected, what, $1 million?
$1 million.
For a restaurant? With 3 partners. That is, oh my goodness. That is, do you hear me? That is monumental anyways. Like, I don't know why I didn't hear about this before. That was crazy.
But after that year, right? This is where things began to get freaky.
Oh my God, it just started going downhill.
And I ain't talking sexual
at all.
So, you ever watch Freaky Friday when they first switched? Well, imagine you owning that restaurant with your brothers, right? And like, there was an article that popped up out of nowhere talking about that uh, adoption agencies were separating twins and putting them in different households. One of them from rich household, and they would separate the twins, but they had to have a sister or an older sister or older brother that was adopted by the same agency in order for them to separate the twins to that family. So that's where the older sisters come into play. And they all was 21. So that lets you know something was up.
This was a, what do you call those, controlled experiment, for lack of better terms. These children from this adoption agency, they were having experiments ran on them from the day they were born. And what makes it even worse, it wasn't just that they were triplets or twins or male or female, or that was just the end of it, because what the parents were told was they were going to have analysis and data collected over the children just to see how they develop behaviorally. So, they didn't think anything of it, but the truth of the matter was they purposely placed these children in controlled experiments settings so they could see how they would grow up. But the main thing that made this really sick, they took them from mothers who had a history of mental illness.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is sad.
Real sad.
It is extremely sad. You're playing with people's lives when, and the doctor, he said he wanted to help these children, but really, you're playing God here. And you're not doing a great job at all. You didn't help any of these children. You just put them in different places and was like, how are you going to turn out? Let's do this. And then you recorded them. And then they had recollections of it, but they didn't put it together until they're in their, 20s, 30s?
Close to 30s, like that, 27, boy. 28. They was in their 30s.
Oh my God.
I think 31, 30. They was around their 30s.
Yes.
So imagine you running this shop, right? You just now finding this out. So, your brothers and everybody is trying to figure out how to best figure out what to do with this information. Right. Everyone's anger, frustration is coming out, and they ended up splitting up from their restaurant. And one of the brothers was so attached to all the brothers together, family together. His dad had died, and his dad was the glue for the three brothers. You feel me? So when his dad died, and then on top of that, finding out about what's going on with this adoption agency, the brothers got into a fight, didn't know how to address or problem solve the fight. So they end up splitting up. None.
They threw away the business.
And one of the brothers began to get very, very depressed.
Manic depressive, might we add. And that was the sad thing. They didn't know which brother the manic depressive episodes were going to pop up in. They were just they were guessing pretty much. So this was a part of the controlled experiment when I say they inherited the mental illness gene from their mother, but they just wanted to find out who was it going to pop up in the most severe. So you are now playing with these children and toying with them. Sad.
So that brother, I think it was Bobby. It sure was Bobby.
No, was it Eddie or Bobby?
It was Eddie. Nah. Eddie was talking. It was Bobby. Bobby ended up committing suicide.
Yes.
And
a
wife and a daughter, yeah. And the other brothers was like, it should have been me. So, when you're going through a grieving process, it's hard alone, going through a grieving process. But imagine you didn't even get the chance to spend that time growing up with your brothers, and he commits suicide. So I know that was tough. And then they couldn't even get the information from the adoption agency about themselves, that they was all that information, all the experiments. They couldn't even get any of that paperwork. It was all sealed off to
2066.
Say that again.
2066. So this means that their children will be old and probably not have a willing or fighting chance to see those sealed off documents. This was never aired to the public, and it won't be probably. It's sealed off in Yale, the college.
But this is the crazy part, right? There was other twins, and they began to tell their stories, and they decided to allow the information to become unsealed after the movie was produced and displayed. So that means if that movie, when it never came out, it would still be sealed to 2066. It's 2020 just now.
Terrible.
And I'm damn near close to 30. I'm 27. So that means in 2066, that's another 46 years from 2020. And this movie was produced in 2016, 2017-ish. So that lets you know this is not right. It's not right at all.
There are higher ups who do not want you to know this, see this, or even feel some way about this. And I think it's terrible. They have played with these people's lives. I don't see how these people could do that, but maybe these people aren't people, and maybe it's not of my understanding. So that's how I will not lose my mind and I'll go to sleep at night. But I feel for that family. My heart goes out to the widow and the child of the lost triplet. God rest his soul. That was terrible. He just could not handle it. And the sad thing about it was he was the more nurturing and sweeter twin anyways, because there was a neutral one, there was a middle one, and then there was him, and he was the one that took it the hardest and that had the manic depressive episode, which made that even more so. He lost his glue, which was his father, and he just came undone completely. He didn't even want to go on with his family that he had started, because how would you feel if all your life you knew one thing and then you're opened up to this whole world? You have two other people that look like you, you're getting to know them, and then one argument is it deters y'all and it blows up everything. I can't imagine how he felt, and I wouldn't say that I would have made the same decisions, but I understand how he could have come to that conclusion. It's what did I get to know you for? If we were going to go through all of this, and then it just kept getting deeper and deeper with the government adding things onto it and lying to them. So I'm sure that just drove him crazy. He couldn't figure himself out. He didn't know what was the truth. So I definitely understand why he came to that conclusion, but that is not always the best solution. I will say that. And if you are having suicidal thoughts or feeling depression, please talk to somebody that you trust about it. Please.
And even if
it is never a good
CP Anonymous. Yeah. Ugly.
Cherry.
Z3.
Mellow, good vibes and the ripples.
Triple.
Mellow, good vibes and the ripple. 3 triplets, 3 young niggas on the mission. We ain't seeing it. Level it together, magnetism, creating canvas. Center of the equate, favorite for the sentence. Mellow, good vibes and the ripple. 3 triplets, 3 young niggas on the mission. We ain't seeing it. Level it together, magnetism, create a canvas. Center of the equate, favorite for the sentence.
B gang to the high, magnetism, light diamond system. Center eye, black hole, light prism. Diving carbon show, turning staples, spinning fans, life wind in hand, on demand, present I control, future I hold, past prep me for the glow, steadfast is how I stroll, eating from the grand bowl, seed growing, expanding, it's in the void, carry energy, I just be the enemy, flying, producing me, killer bees, splitting sleep, 7 phases later, 10,000 degrees later, blazing, call me morning sun, expo bro got me peeking, have you sneaking, late night peeking.
3 youngsters, we were broker than a penny. Study black history while the other washing dishes. Luckily enough, I had my father grow up with me. Mellow, like the fire, the smoke is trending. The vibes in the room is cursing up the whole energy. Smooth sailing in the water, word of efficient. Kicking it up just a year ago with the rocket ship, can I catch you with me? As soon as I take off and the stars come a new legend. Walking to the house and the praise the lights of the universe compounded to this figuration of the flickering mind in the bliss. Stuck in Fritz, counterfeit jits, glitz in the tech industry. We don't mix this. Rock the station, located in diplomatic. Different mode code, all roads lead to leather. Forgiato stamping, that's just what I'm pressing.
It's a vibe, clock the time, let's refine the better lines to go in. You and I, reading the skies, never lie. Libra fucking with the signs, roll the tight. Hey, elephant in the room, tell me what's the size? I divine, wonder why 3 gets multiplied. R. Kelly on the hook, I believe I can fly. Cross my heart, not to die. Work on music 7 times, 21 blast off, and with NASA rhymes. How positive are you? I say sometimes, and I'm running to the ball like a combine. And my bars to your face, and I call it punchline. Double O's to your high, Ohio bug ice. Put me in your wallet, zoom, it's capitalized. Target on bullseye, I see you colorblind. And I hop on the beat, and I charge for mine. Let me think once you're mine. You work hard, then we grind. I'm underground, zoom the goat ain't signed, and that's fine, Lil Zoom.
Mellow, good vibes and the ribble, 3 triplets. 3 young niggas on the mission, we ain't seeing it. Leveling together, magnetism, create a chemist. Center of the equate, favorite border seeing it.